You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, when a memory from 10 years ago hits you. Maybe it's a specific summer evening, the smell of rain on hot pavement, or a song playing through a cheap car stereo. In that moment, it feels perfect. You feel a sudden ache for a time when things seemed simpler, kinder, and more vibrant. But here's the strange thing. If you actually went back to that exact day, you'd probably find you were stressed about a deadline, worried about money, or having an argument with a friend. Why does our brain filter out the grit and leave only the gold? Today we're looking at the psychology of nostalgia and why our good old days are often a masterpiece painted by a very biased artist. Psychologists call this rosy retrospection. It's a cognitive bias that acts like a built-in photo editor for our memories. When we look back, our brains have a natural tendency to minimize the negative emotions we felt at the time while magnifying the positive ones. Think about a family vacation you took years ago. At the time, you might have been exhausted, the flight was delayed, and the weather was humid. But today, you only remember the taste of the ice cream and the sound of the ocean. Our minds prioritize the emotional peak of an event over the mundane or stressful details. It's not that we're lying to ourselves, it's that our memory is designed to help us survive, not to act as a perfect video recorder. There's a fascinating mechanism at work here called the fading affect bias. Research suggests that the negative emotions associated with a memory tend to fade much faster than the positive ones. If you went through a tough breakup 3 years ago, the sharp pain and the sleepless nights have likely dulled into a faint blur. However, the memory of a great joke you shared or a beautiful sunset you watched together remains relatively vivid. This isn't just a glitch, it's a protective feature. If we remembered every ounce of pain with its original intensity, it would be very hard to move forward or take risks again. Our brains are essentially trying to keep us optimistic by decluttering the emotional trash of the past. Nostalgia isn't just about events, it's about who we were. We often miss the old version of ourselves, the one who had fewer responsibilities, more hair, or a sense of endless possibility. When life gets heavy with the demands of adulthood, mortgages, and career pressure, the past looks like a sanctuary. We look back at our teenage years or our early 20s and see a person who was unburdened. We aren't just longing for a specific year, we are longing for the feeling of being new to the world. It's a way of checking in with our identity. By revisiting these memories, we remind ourselves of our roots, which can feel incredibly grounding when the present feels chaotic or uncertain. In today's fast-paced digital world, nostalgia has become a common coping mechanism. When we feel overwhelmed by the always-on nature of social media or the complexity of modern life, our brains retreat to a time that feels solved. The past is safe because we already know how it ends. There's no anxiety about the outcome of a situation that happened 5 years ago. This is why you might find yourself rewatching the same sitcoms from the early 2000s or listening to the music you loved in high school. It's emotional comfort food. It provides a sense of continuity in a world that feels like it's changing too fast for us to keep up. Take Sarah, for example. She's a 35-year-old marketing manager who often finds herself scrolling through old photos of her college years. She remembers those days as a non-stop adventure of friendship and freedom. But if Sarah looked at her old journals, she'd see entries about feeling deeply insecure, crying over failed exams, and feeling lonely in a crowded room. Her brain has tidied up the narrative. By focusing only on the good Sarah, she's inadvertently making her current life feel duller by comparison. This is the danger of nostalgia. When we compare our behind-the-scenes reality today to everyone else's, and our own highlight reels from the past, we end up feeling like we've lost something we never truly had. Even though it's a bit of an illusion, nostalgia isn't bad. In fact, it serves a very healthy purpose. It acts as a bridge between our past and our present. When we experience big life transitions, like moving to a new city, starting a new job, or becoming a parent, nostalgia helps us maintain a sense of self. It tells us, I am the same person who experienced that joy, and I can experience it again. It can also be a powerful social glue. Sharing remember when stories with friends or family strengthens our bonds and reminds us that we have a shared history. It's a tool for resilience, giving us a reservoir of positive feelings to dip into when the current well runs dry. So, how do we enjoy the warmth of the past without letting it ruin our present? The first step is the reality check. Next time you find yourself aching for a specific time in your life, try to remember one thing that was actually difficult back then. Did you have a long commute? Were you struggling with a specific relationship? By intentionally recalling the grit, you balance the scales. This doesn't mean you shouldn't enjoy the memory. It just means you're acknowledging that life has always been a mix of highs and lows. It grounds the memory in reality and prevents you from feeling like the present is a failure compared to a fictionalized past. Another practical tool is using sensory anchors in the present. Nostalgia is often triggered by senses: smell, sound, touch. To stay grounded in today, try to create new sensory highlights. Buy a new scent of candle for your current home, or find a new artist to listen to on your morning commute. By consciously noticing the smells, tastes, and sounds of your life right now, you are giving your future self something beautiful to look back on. You're essentially planting memories. It helps you realize that the good old days aren't a destination you left behind. They are something you are actively building in the small, mundane moments of this Tuesday afternoon. Practice future nostalgia. Ask yourself, 5 years from now, what will I miss about today? It might be the way your toddler mispronounces words, the quietness of your current apartment, or even the routine of your morning coffee. This shift in perspective is powerful. It forces you to see the gold in your current life before it becomes a memory. We often don't realize we're living in the good old days until they're gone. By identifying those gems now, you appreciate them in real time. It moves you from being a passive observer of your past to an active participant in your present happiness. Finally, try a narrative audit. If you find yourself stuck in a loop of everything was better back then, look at the story you're telling yourself. Are you using the past as an escape because you're unhappy with a specific part of your life today? Often, intense nostalgia is a signal that a current need isn't being met. If you miss the fun of your 20s, maybe you need to inject more play into your current schedule. If you miss the closeness of your old friends, maybe it's time to reach out and schedule a dinner. Use your nostalgia as a compass. It's telling you what you value, so you can bring more of that value into your life right now. Nostalgia is a beautiful, complicated gift. It's the brain's way of keeping our favorite stories alive, even if it edits out a few of the boring chapters. The good old days feel better than they were because they've been refined by time. But that doesn't mean today can't be just as meaningful. Life is always a work in progress, and the version of you sitting here right now is just as worthy of love as the version of you from a decade ago. We hope this helps you look back with a smile and look forward with a bit more clarity. What is one thing from your past you're grateful for but wouldn't necessarily want to relive? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for being here with us at Curious Pod. Please subscribe for more thoughtful explorations of modern life.